The belt stays on during sex. This is Spoilers. Everybody, welcome to Spoilers. That was a hard outro on the music. We're working on it. This is our first in-person podcast recording in Spoiler Studios.
This is exciting.
Live in downtown Elkhart, Indiana, with all of my friends. I guess not all of my friends, but a lot of my
Every
good friends.
one of them.
All of them, all three of them are here together, assembled in the same room to talk about a movie we just watched live and in person together, The Green Knight. Let's go from Westus to Eastus around this table. Establish where you are. I don't know. What's a good opening question? Do you have a favorite A24 movie, and why is it not The Green Knight?
Oh, jeez.
Brett, we'll start with you.
Okay, I've seen the least amount of A24 movies. This is Brett recording from
You don't need to say that. We're all
city
together.
where I
need
was
to say that.
born and raised, Elkhart. I have no idea. What are some?
Hereditary?
No.
The Lobster?
Nope.
Midsommar.
Never seen it.
So, Brett.
Wait, so it's The Green Knight. Is that what you're saying?
No,
The
no.
Green
What
Knight is
about the
literally...
Green Room?
I got a good one.
I've seen Spring Breakers.
This is Josh from Goshen recording from Elkhart.
Come back.
Spring Breakers.
That's a good
I don't
one.
know if it's my favorite, but I
think
think
I
it's
gave
a
it a
good
no,
one
though.
to shout out because it's fun to watch. I'd recommend it.
Podcast we did on that. Stevie, do you have a favorite A24 movie?
Oh, here we go.
Is the Beach Bum an A24 movie?
Spiritually.
Spiritually, I feel like it is an A24 movie, but yeah, Hereditary hands down is my favorite A24 movie. I think it's a fantastically acted and written, directed drama with elements of horror, so definitely Hereditary.
I was going to say Hereditary. This is Pappy while we give Brett a second to Google. Also, by the way, we're going to try and simulcast this live to the YouTube channel as well, so you might be able to watch us, Pod. You might be able to watch Brett stress out what...
Is simulcast the real word to use? Simulcast.
Multi-
It sounds
Multi-post?
fancy.
What does that even mean? Simulcast.
Cross-pollinate platforms. You can watch us live on
I can't
TikTok.
promise a simulcast, but we're gonna get this video up on YouTube for like a weird first thing.
You can see my A24 shirt live
Patreon
on
only
YouTube.
or for the masses?
If you're the A24 guy, I think it's for everybody.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm the A24 guy.
Giving him just an extra minute. What are just some of the top tier between you guys? Like, what are just some of your favorites? What's up
You
there?
guys like Uncut Gems, right?
Oh, Uncut Gems is a banger. Midsommar, The Lobster, Green Room's great.
Good time.
I was drunk
Good
on
Time's a
The
fantastic.
Witch.
I was drunk on a plane and I cried during The Room, starring Brie Larson, which is like one of my most embarrassing moments in my life. I was going to say The Lobster, though, because we did a podcast on that. I haven't revisited it in a long time, but it's a very A24 movie, much like The Green Knight. Brett, you've been frantically scrolling through your phone.
had
Anything
one.
to say? Okay.
Yeah, I liked. I'd say The Disaster Artist. I really enjoyed that one. I was
That's
kidding.
a really good one.
That's a good one. And I guess The Green Knight, we saw it together. Hard transition. We saw it together. We hadn't said anything supposedly about it. We're trying to Siskel and Ebert it together. We watched the movie together. Not going
Right.
to say a word before we got out of the theater. I was a little frustrated by the end. I hung my head a little bit. Initial impressions. Anyone go on The Green Knight?
So, what did I tell you when we were entering in? That was my biggest fear.
You were afraid it was going to be It Comes at Night, which is a movie that we spoiled with, what's his name? Taron Edgerton?
Edgerton.
Joel
Joel Edgerton.
Edgerton, yeah.
It has Joel. Yeah, you're close.
Yeah,
It's almost
Taron?
there.
Taryn is.
Yeah, Taron's
John.
another guy.
Yeah.
But it started Joel Edgerton, and we
Which
said...
Dev Patel owes him a hand job.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I guess.
Yeah.
The least likely kiss of all time. I've never seen anything like that.
Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, but it was the marketing for It Comes
Oy.
at Night, fantastic. Go to see It Comes at Night, super excited. Nothing ever came. And yeah, Matt and Egley, if you're watching this, I know it's fear. Believe me, I know. Nothing exciting ever came. The marketing for this was fantastic. I watched the trailer for this at least 15 times. Watched the backstory, saw YouTube videos, great, super excited.
This was supposed to be a 2020 movie. Like I've been waiting for this movie for
It's supposed to come out in
15
October.
months.
Yeah, October of 2020 is when it's supposed to come out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like The Green Knight had similar results from It Comes at Night.
Well, Dev Patel definitely came, right? Wasn't that? We'll get to that.
Wasn't expecting that.
Let's,
Okay.
in the spirit of spoilers, what happens in that scene? Let's just get that sex
I
scene
don't
out of the
know.
way. It's a key plot point too, maybe.
In that particular scene, Is that like a test?
We're
of
just going to
his
keep
honor?
dropping weird hints to what we see on screen on the belt and her hand.
I mean, it was a
Was it
full
her-
shot of semen in
Yeah,
this movie.
I haven't seen Seaman
Since
your
something
movie.
Yeah, something about Mary.
It was 25 years ago.
My favorite comedy.
To say something nice, very realistic looking semen.
Oh, yeah.
I would say. No expenses were spared in terms of the semen. Brett, though, you mentioned you don't. We were in the car ride over and we were trying not to talk about it, but you said you don't watch a lot of A24 movies. Is this the example of an A24 movie in your mind and why you avoid them?
I did say to you, I believe, I didn't watch them because I feel like a lot of them are like that, where nothing really happens. They think like something's happened, but it's honestly just because I haven't got around to them. They all sound really good. I've liked some of the ones I've seen. Lady Bird, it's all good stuff.
Lady
Just
Bird's a
haven't
good one.
watched a lot of it. I haven't watched a lot of it. That's grade A semen, though. You're right.
Josh, when you think A24, what are the first things that think of your head? You're the only real person who's made films here. I feel like you're able to speak on that.
I would love to make a film someday, but I think we saw the preview for Lamb, right? While we're sitting there.
He fucked a sheep, right? That's like the whole
Gotta
plot
be.
of that story.
Gotta be.
Guy
I
fucks a sheep
mean-
and he has a sheep baby.
That happened, right? Like he definitely. I looked at you and I said he definitely had sex with that lamb.
Okay,
right?
also, why were there fucking 15 previews in this movie? There were so
Why were
many.
they all horror movies, too?
We were supposed to see this movie at 4:30. It was 5:05 before the A24 logo, I think.
Oh, I thought it was 4:55.
Have any of you guys ever worked in a theater?
No.
Jordan
Brother
has.
Jode has. I wish I could ask him, but I feel like they were almost contractually
Oh,
like
sure.
told to say you have to play, anchor this with this.
It's just like everything. There's more commercials everywhere,
Well,
right? In everything.
I mean, I haven't seen that amount of trailers in a minute. I mean, you're talking about like 15 years where I was like, wow, I was getting out of hand.
It was all A24?
Yeah.
What
close
made it
to
stand out to me was how awkward it felt between trailers. I haven't felt. There's only 6 people in our theater.
Yeah.
Like,
And
three or four of them.
That's an A24 movie.
Lamb, I thought looked good. Maybe the best out of
I
everything.
actually thought the Candyman sounded. I mean, I doubt I'll be able to watch it, but that looked pretty cool to me.
I want to see Candyman. I think, okay, fuck the Green Knight for a second. We were all in person.
Yeah.
We played a little game of musical chairs at the beginning of the seating. Like, we could not get our seating configuration around. As you can see, 2 tall guys here. We moved around a little bit. Were you guys next to each other or a seat apart
seat
during the movie?
between a popcorn set.
Well, I'm still trying to keep some COVID distance
Yeah,
betwixt.
plus that's just kind of how.
While we sit 2 feet from each other. And
It's not about
spit at
COVID.
each
It's about
other.
the fact there were 6 people in the theater. There were us 4 pretty much in a row. And then, like,
Well, don't forget about the kids in the hallway.
I shut the doors.
Thank you. I was thinking about it, but I was like, I don't know.
So,
Did you notice that? Did you see that?
I said Josh is the Green Knight.
You
I was so
you could hear
excited.
the other
when you-
theaters
Yeah.
playing too. It was like really loud.
Well, also the theater we went to have very thin walls. So if we had Michael Bay on either side, we were screwed from the get. 'Cause
Yeah.
this was a very, in some moments,
And that's what you
quiet
want.
movie.
A theater with the thinnest of walls.
And this theater hasn't been updated since 1987.
You guys got to come to my Fort Wayne theater sometime. It's awesome.
Because this theater, I mean, it shows its age. It's been rode hard and put away wet for years.
the old school seats that also stay down after you've sat in them at one point. Like they don't go back up on their own like they should.
Well, I dropped my bottle cap and I said, Pap, I have no idea what's on that floor. That's there.
You dropped your bottle cup and went, no.
No.
Don't pick that up. It's
Armrest
gone
was super
forever.
sticky too, but
But that's the first time at a theater I had taken an action to help improve the watching experience for other people. So
You were a hero for all 6 of us.
I shut the doors in the back. I just
Yeah.
went back there and took, like, it was kind of awkward.
And I mean, I'm shocked. Like the projection was also off too. It was driving me insane watching the.
What'd you notice? What?
Well, first off, the fact that it wasn't a full screen drove me insane. You still had those 2 bars in the sides. I know it was shot for something bigger than that. I know it was. And also, if you looked at the top, it was angled ever so slightly, and my eye could not go off of it.
I just needed subtitles.
I could have used some.
I could. It's the only way I watch media
know.
now is on
Same.
subtitles.
Same.
I can only
There
watch movies and
is
shows.
an expository dump at the beginning. There's like I didn't know what they were saying. That's why I brought this up because of the subtitles. Like, what was that beginning part? What were they doing?
I don't even remember what.
Wait, are you talking about like the intro sequence,
Yeah,
like the whole first? Okay, I like the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
No,
I liked them a lot.
I'm talking about the first 20
Intro.
seconds where someone's
when he's saying ye
There's a-
and nary and many.
No
of-
idea.
There's a voiceover at the beginning.
it sounded kind of like this. And what they were pretty much saying is, you've heard of Guinevere, you've heard of Arthur, you've heard of the Excaliburs.
Yeah.
Now it's time to hear.
Story, yeah.
Now it's time to hear the story of the Green Knight.
Do you guys remember?
But he was not the Green Knight.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, no. Do you remember on the Fargo podcast? Never got mad at me for saying it's funny that they say it's based on a true
yeah.
story.
Oh, God,
And this was like adapted for film by Anonymous. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, that was pretty.
I thought that was a short story that they were basing this.
I thought so too.
I thought it said adopted for film by. Maybe I missed that. This
No,
No, it's
story
based
was-
on the chivalrous knight or something like that by Anonymous. That's why I said it to you guys. I think it's probably about 800 years old. It's probably a really
They had
old
to like
story.
translate it to the English language. That's how old it is, because it's not. I mean, it's old.
That's actually where we get into some cool stuff with the Green
I loved
Knight.
the first 20 minutes. I was so into the first 20 minutes. The whole
Tell
like
us what
setting up.
happened.
Yeah, get into it.
Okay, so we're setting up Dev Patel, our favorite Last Airbender character.
He went hard.
It's a very much I guess trying to establish his character. Are we supposed to think that he's like a young man, right? He's kind of fucking around. with some chick?
Lothario doesn't really give two nickels about what's going on in his kingdom.
I thought the production design on the kingdom was great. It felt like a fantasy world I wanted to spend time in at that point. I was into the snow.
Not live in though.
Not live in, but no, like experience, like watch.
There's a lot of mud.
Yeah.
Is this a Christmas movie?
Well, the first words that are spoken are "Christ is born." What was it?
Christ is born.
Christ is something.
Yeah. It was supposed to come out in October, I thought. And
Okay.
I guess it could be. I mean, it revolves around 2 Christmases, so it definitely could be a Christmas movie. But
Maybe 3 Christmases.
4 Christmases, and then you got yourself a stew going.
Okay.
But I liked building that world. I liked seeing the King Arthur court. I liked seeing the literal court, right? Like actually like the round table and everything was part of it. I liked that Dev Patel was being pulled into it. I liked that we didn't have to explain why Dev Patel was a different race
Yeah,
than the other
that
people.
was nice.
Doesn't matter. He is part of King Arthur's English court. Then the titular Green Knight shows up. Josh, did you like the production design or the character design? I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I like
Looked
that a lot.
great.
Actually,
Looked great.
he sounded awesome too.
I feel like we're gonna disagree and maybe harp on some of the story stuff later on, right? But I think we can all agree the Green Knight himself.
Oh, my.
And his bones creaked like his twigs and.
It sounded
stuff.
like an Ents, but like cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His whole demeanor too, with like the power play with like turning off the lights as he's going in and not reading anything for himself, but like possessing someone through a letter and making them read it.
That was something I thought was very clever.
But I
don't know
thought the mother was possessing them through witchcraft.
Well, if we rewind, I think Dev Patel's mother has something huge to do with.
Yeah, why though?
right.
Did she create the Green Knight?
Sounded like he
it
came
sounds
out of
like she did like a medieval Candyman.
Yeah.
So she
There we go.
she summons him.
He started to come out with the blossom
Yeah.
and stuff.
So what I thought was she summons him, but I thought, I mean, who was King Arthur's wife at this point? Would
It
have
was
been-
isn't it the mom from
Liza
the
Aaron.
Vivitch?
Yeah,
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
Vivitch mom, yeah. So I thought that was really clever filmmaking, which is not just have her read it, but have her like in trance read it. I thought that was so cool.
There's so many moments of that beginning that I love too, like when Dev Patel says, "I'll take him on," and King Arthur gets out the sword, and like the lens flare, and like the way the room lights up when the sword comes out too. Everything about that opening sequence I love so much, and I don't know why. Did Dev Patel not just scratch his cheek? The Green Knight threw that out there.
Okay.
You could just scratch my cheek, and then that's all he would have to do, right?
I almost like laughed out loud when King Arthur was like, "Bro, do you understand what's going on here? Like you're jumping up like all
yes,
happy and
think
whatnot.
It's
but,
just a
like,
game.
But like, do you understand what's going on? Because the Green Knight was very clear. You know, whatever blow you lay to me, equal will be returned in 1 year's hence. The fact that Dev was like, let's chop off his head.
It didn't help that the king, who was maybe my favorite part of the whole movie, I liked any scene that he was in.
Oh, I thought he carried it.
It might be, he did say, it's just a game. Like, maybe that's why he was like, well, I'm going to kill this guy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're right, though. King Arthur, he was also the
Sean
bad
Harris.
guy
I thought I
in Mission
recognized him, but I
Impossibles.
don't. Yeah,
He's in
he
the
is.
Mission Impossibles as Lane
Lane, yep.
Rice, I think, maybe. Or maybe that's Mad Men.
Maybe
but-
there's a strength in here though, because I think what it all comes back to is the fact that what's Dev Patel's name? I don't want to call him Dev. This whole-
Gawain, but they
Gawain.
pronounced him, the king says Gawain, But I mean, it's-
Garwin.
Garwin. Well, Garwin.
Garwin.
That's what we're calling
the medium
it.
it was pronounced. Yeah, Garwin.
Garwin Dev Patel.
Yeah.
Garwin makes a mistake. He misreads the situation, and he does something really stupid. We've all been there.
Yeah, chopped
Maybe
off
not
his headphones.
that. Maybe not something that's that clearly stated.
But to so much fanfare, though, right? Because I thought everyone would be like, "Why the fuck did you just chop off his head, bro? Did
Well,
you not?"
maybe that-
hear
maybe
that?"
They were all
that-
scared. I think he was trying to impress him.
Maybe that was it. Like, they told, the Green Knight told, hey, you can even lay a scratch and I'll lay equal. And he had so much hubris, and I wouldn't even call it bravery, but I would just call it stupid courage, that he chopped off the head.
Okay, quick timeout since we're getting into speculation territory. Does anyone have any actual insights on the anonymous story this is based on? I have zero. So all of this will be
This
speculation on
is,
my
to
part.
me, is almost like a Homer type thing.
It was really helpful right before the movie. Brett actually just had a couple quick details about like what King Arthur and his court even is. I thought that
Which was not much about this movie, but yeah.
just lay that out. What
I
is
just
it?
said something like, well, they were still under the rule of the Pope and Holy Roman Empire at the time, and he was there to. The King Arthur and his knights were there to kind of keep order in England, which was kind of a wild place, and you had all the I don't remember what they're called, Picts or something like that, that tried to come in and rape and pillage and stuff.
What
and
did you just say?
Picts?
PICTS?
Yeah, something like that. They're called something else in the other movie, but yeah, and then-
Barbarians, basically?
kind of,
Is
yeah,
that what it's saying?
Pagans.
I said pagans, yeah, and when I told you, but so that was like their thing.
version of it, I guess, yeah.
That was what they did.
But some of these stories go back to like ancient Egypt or ancient England before Christ. And I think I don't want to get too deep into it on the spot, but it is interesting to me. There's some things that like people believe that there may have been societies like way before ours that
Ancient
collapsed.
aliens?
Ancient societies.
Pull that up, young
I mean, there's
Jamie.
an 8th continent they just discovered.
So
did they?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I would
It's under New Zealand.
We'll put a pin in that.
it ties into, but we're talking about the witchcraft stuff,
Right.
And he has that line later where he says, like, "Yes, I believe in witchcraft. It's all around us." And like a lot of people, that's what they believe about ancient worlds, is that they're somehow more in touch with that sort of spiritual thing. So I like thinking that a story like The Green Knight could shed some maybe truth on some ancient aliens.
And I want to get in the plot here in a second, but the reason I asked is if there is some sort of moral lesson, is this supposed to be what was Garwin? Is that what we're calling him?
I'm not gonna call him Garwin, but go ahead.
Dev Patel, like learning to become more mature. We see him in the beginning, like getting drunk all the time, fucking around with local people. Did his mom definitely summoned the Green Knight. We know that for sure.
Yeah,
he
hard
was
summons.
responsible.
Hard summons.
Was it to teach him to be a more responsible person, to gain honor through that? Is that the whole purpose of the story, basically?
I think, I mean, I could be totally wrong, but go ahead.
Well, when I was watching the movie, I was thinking, is this like a power play, right? Is she like summoning the Green Knight to dethrone King Arthur? Is this going to be
Sink or
like,
swim.
right? Yeah.
He was also the heir, right?
She passes out right after she finds out that he was chosen by the Green Knight. I thought that was the movie's tell, that it was on accident.
So, do you think that maybe she thought that maybe it could have been better directed, handled? Maybe it's up to interpretation, but maybe do you think that she thought, Arthur in front of all of his men in his kingdom will be the first one to rise, and he will die, and Dev or Garwin will be the one to take over?
That's what I was literally thinking
'Cause
up until the last montage.
Because
though.
then it could also be a very sink or swim situation, which is you need to get your house in order to Dev Patel and learn what it is to be a man, be a knight, be chivalrous. Mm-hmm. And, maybe that was the play, but it could be one or the other. I just don't think it was explicitly stated.
becoming chivalrous via this journey that he goes on. So he chooses to fight the Green Knight. The Green Knight basically just takes a knee. He decapitates the Green Knight. Heads off on this journey. I am all in on this fucking movie at this point.
So excited.
I loved even the first like battle sequence that they come across. Steve, you remember anything about that first like battle? I loved like the dialogue there. He's like, do you use that like axe here?
Mm-hmm.
Here and there, here, no, mostly there type stuff. I thought it was like really clever. Like I was like following the dialogue, which is good for like kind of old English type stuff.
Yeah, it's just
And there's a lot of dialogue in this beginning
there's
too.
a lot
right?
of dialogue, and
it goes away right after this.
It goes
part.
away, and this movie it almost doesn't even fall off a cliff. It jumps off a mountain. And it's very strange the way it works, because I was hooked. I mean, like you even said the battle part, I was hooked up even when he got tied up. I was hooked there because when they did that kind of montage of, winter, spring, fall, the year came and went and he's bones. I was even hooked then, thinking maybe the earth can revive him, something to do with the Green Knight. But no, we keep going on our adventure. And I feel like this movie just did a hard peter out after the first 30 minutes, don't you? Maybe 40 minutes. It's a long movie, but I feel like it just did a hard fizzle.
It relies more on visual storytelling.
Yeah.
Right at that point, even sometimes abstract visuals, things like him falling in a lake. There's a bunch of stars that come up or whatever.
I thought that looked awesome.
I liked
when it turned red. I thought that was cool.
The biggest bags in spoilers history by far, like largest, right? Giant bags.
Oh, giant
yeah.
bags.
Like
you can't.
actual bags of a giant. I should say. I'm not.
Yeah.
Proportionally, though.
Yeah.
But
That's
For a giant.
Small B cup.
I
That's
really
okay,
wish
though.
we were able to edit this episode out.
I think. Oh man, what were we just talking about though? The
battle.
visual stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
the visual.
Yeah, I just think that oh man, this would be a great point to edit too because I'm derailed completely. But
Well, this movie derails itself, but
That's a
yeah.
good point. Yeah, I like the
God damn it.
the guy gave me strong. What's that character from Game of Thrones? Ramsay vibes.
Bolton,
Like,
Ramsey, and Roos.
because he's clearly a bad guy, right? I was getting that vibes the whole time, and especially when he gives him like the coin or whatever. Like he's like, "Oh, go by
Sure.
the river" or whatever.
Yeah, well, yeah, you knew he was bad from the
Is
jump.
he from Dunkirk?
I didn't. I don't.
Killing of a sacred deer.
I know what I was gonna say. Here it is. That moment that you pointed out where they do like a 360 of the forest.
Loved it.
I did too, but then it felt like the movie didn't know what to do or how to explain what
Is
you
that
just
where the
saw.
short story ended?
Kind of.
Is that where the short story ends?
D&D round of
Is
source
this where the
material to
D&D are
adopt?
like, guys, what do we do?
It's a 14th century poem, by the way, called Sir Gawain, Gawain or whatever, and the Green Knight.
And
by
the,
Anonymous.
the way that the movie ends is kind of that same way. You get like, here's what could have happened, and now here's what's actually happening.
But is everything any so that battle that's like only like a day's ride? Did that actually happen, or would that have been a consequence of him not getting beheaded? Because I was thinking that
Right.
battle was supposed to be like what would have happened
Right.
had he not been beheaded, and like sort of everything that happens because the woman who he runs into next, which he gets tied up. I kind of like the scene where he's struggling to get tied up.
I
too.
loved it. And it was an
Fighting the sword.
eternity, which was a good way to get in depth with the character. Like, we're here for an eternity, too, just as him.
And that it shows like there's that rotating shot that you were talking about, and it shows like the bones Dev Patel, and like, that's almost like the film teasing like we're showing things that might happen, right? Not
He
things that
doesn't
are
move.
going to happen, but these things that are might.
Might be things to come.
Yeah, the ghost of Christmas future, not things that are going to happen, but things that could happen. So, but he gets free from that Ramsey character, and like the dialogue just stops. He's on his own at this point. And this is also like a chaptered movie too. There's title cards in this. I couldn't read the fucking titles though. I couldn't tell you what they're saying.
The font could.
and maybe that's a projectionist, but I don't know.
It wasn't a great projection.
I read them all, but I couldn't tell you what they were. I mean, one was the journey
the kindness.
out.
A year too short. Is that one of them?
That was like on a
Too
box.
a too short year.
A too short year. That's what.
Saying
it
you
was.
could read them. Do you like this like titling in a movie in general? Like, is this kind of like a Tarantino thing that's like
literally
spread
just came
through?
from the worst titling in whatever that movie was called. We just,
Southland
why can I
Tales?
not? I'm
Southland
glad I can't
Tales.
remember what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it in The Shining, and I like how like in The Shining where it's like getting shorter and shorter time increments. This added nothing to the film.
Well,
in terms of chaptering.
I appreciate it when it's a hard cut to black new title. That's when I appreciate it.
like in The Shining.
Like, I mean, like a hard cut, like hard cutting. Doing this soft, like font raising above, and this is like the new chapter. I did not care for that at all.
Did you like the scene with the woman who had been decapitated, Brett? Was that because that's where the film really started to fall apart
The
for me?
girl from Falcon. And
Was
the
that
Winter
his
Soldier?
wife at the end too? Is that the
No.
same woman?
No.
Okay.
Was there
Everybody,
some bad
everybody looks
casting?
similar. Everybody looks similar.
Is that a casting issue to you?
Yes.
Like it
That's
could
a hard casting issue.
Well, to be fair, the Winifred is like half black, so but she's also in dark the whole time. So she's the
Yeah.
girl from Falcon
But
and Winter Soldier.
the issue I have with it, I mean, we'll get to the castle in a little bit. The girl from the castle and his wife, or his,
They're both red hair.
well, they both look very similar.
They do,
That's why
for
I was
sure.
thrown off by the movie. It's
Definitely.
like, why was that Alicia Vikander?
No,
It
Lisa
wasn't?
Vikander was his girlfriend and the crazy witch queen.
Okay.
That was. I was gonna get to that later. Why are they the same person?
Wait, so that was her?
Yeah, 100%. They're both Alicia.
Sorry, which crazy witch queen?
His girl girlfriend
His girlfriend in the
and
original,
and the
girl in the
Lord's-
castle.
Yes, those are both.
Those are the
I'm
same?
almost positive. Almost positive.
Okay, that to me is an issue.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure
That's
out if you guys
That's
knew
a
why.
strong issue. Then that's a real.
Let me triple check, but I mean,
Poor
right away, I go,
decision.
that's her. Why is it her? And I didn't know
Yeah.
if she was witchcraft where she could read
So
his
if-
mind, and that's why she did that.
So the girl who was blind, the lady who was blindfolded, was projecting. Was she projecting his girlfriend from home?
Possibly,
There?
yeah, it's possible.
So little. I mean, yeah.
Does this have to do with your theory that he's in a different reality where he wimped out?
Lady and
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. Was
That's
like
an
the
issue.
painting that comes up at the end. Like, would that painting have ever happened had he wimped out? Because it's the painting. Like, how would he even get that painting?
Yeah,
right?
it's. That to me seems like doing it just to do it. That's an exercise.
So the whole psychedelic sequence, like in the lake and stuff, I thought was cool. That's good visual storytelling. But compare that to like the first couple obstacles he has to overcome. I was kind of bored, to be honest. That whole thing, I wasn't really that into it.
I loved how the fox asked for drugs, though.
the berries or whatever.
Well, no, he's picking the mushrooms, and the fox like whines, so he tosses him.
I want a trip too, bro.
Yeah, seriously.
Were the giants actually there, or was that a hallucination? Because again, it's like this big,
That to
grand
me,
visual
that to me is
storytelling.
Old Testament vibes.
Yeah.
That to me is hard Old Testament vibes, where they talk about giants or beings as tall as cedar trees and oak trees and just as strong walking this earth. That to me screams Old Testament.
Christ-like character Josh, did you get Old Testament vibes from the giants?
I got mythical, like this is how myth starts sort of vibes. Like maybe he sees giants on a trip and people believe him, and he doesn't, like, it doesn't seem like he's drug seeking when he gets those mushrooms.
No.
He's just like so hungry and tired.
Would have been
so-
a lot cooler if he did.
and for all he knows, they are real giants, and they become mythologized.
And, I feel like that's what I thought I was going to be getting into with the Green Knight, but I don't know, man. Like, this whole, like, middle sequence here, I was kind of bored.
I have no issue with quest building, where this quest leads to another quest, and this quest can build from this. I have no problem with that. But the way it was staggered, it feels like you could have just cut out 30 minutes of, nonsense, in my opinion. It was, because, what led to what, really?
I mean, who is the fox? To get to the fox, the CGI fox, to be honest, didn't look the best. I mean, they did a good job of obfuscating it for as much as they could. How did you feel about the fox, Brett?
I thought that he looked really cool, but I also thought that he looked really fake. So
He was cute, but he didn't
Yeah.
look good, like in terms of a movie, I would say.
It was fun to watch for a while. I couldn't believe how much screen time it got, though. And it starts talking for a while.
I was thinking it was going to be talking way before it did, way before the, hey, you're going to go to your death, scene.
The six people in the theater, I think, all audibly reacted to the fox howling. I think everyone in the theater
With the
liked
giants
that.
howling?
I think everyone liked
I think
that
everyone
shit.
liked the giants howling too. Yeah. The fox starting a howl was pretty hilarious.
Am I?
that-
Go ahead.
it's just stupid. It reminded me of that game that people like, the Colossus or whatever.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus.
I don't know why I got that vibe.
Amazing game, one of my all-time favorites.
For those who didn't see the movie, the fox gets between the giant and Dev Patel and like howls at it, and so the giant starts howling, and then all the giants starts howling in unison. The fox is
Well,
howling.
he literally wants a ride from the giants.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Can I get on your shoulder?" And then the fox, he was there. I mean, I don't know if the giant was.
Is this what does a fox say joke? Like, are we getting trolled by this moment in this movie?
David Lowery's been holding on to this for years.
Literally, the only reason he made the movie was for that joke. But yeah.
Presumably, right, you're taking, like, this visual storytelling is supposed to be very earnest, and the fox just doesn't look good. I think it's like a big problem with the movie. If it's one of the main characters is this fox and it looks like a cheap CGI fox, it's going to be a kind of a big knock of the movie. And, like, in my head, it goes from the battle sequence, giants, Joel Edgerton. Is there anything in between that I'm missing? Oh, sorry. The battle sequence, girl who gets beheaded,
Girl with the beheaded, yeah.
giants, Joel Edgerton. Is there anything in that part that I'm missing? Because it's all kind of like a blur to me.
Is his real quest?
The friends he made along the way.
No, we keep talking about it. We brought it up earlier. It's gross, but like him getting a hand job from this woman, is that his downfall? Like him succumbing to some sort of, thanks, Brett. You know, is that the moment? Like, is it so gross and it sticks out so much? Is that like why it's like what man wouldn't flinch if your head's about to be chopped off?
Yep.
But maybe he has more of a choice in this moment. Is that a Stevie question?
I think it's a Stevie question. Is that his whole quest? To not come? Do not come.
I mean, is that it? Like, Cummings against, the Catholic Church that blesses all of his weapons? I mean, I don't know.
Coming from a witch, though, that's a little lame.
Can we set up the whole Joel Edgerton part? Because I feel like that's like a big part of the movie, and I feel like that's the part I connected.
He was in such a good mood for 99% of it.
Yeah.
He was in a great mood.
I don't understand how that fits like thematically outside of that little test that he does. Like, I don't get like what's supposed to be happening in the vast majority of that. Like, so he comes to this castle, right? He's been downtrodden. He hasn't had his horse. He hasn't had like the majority of his weapons at this point. He gets the axe back. He has his little fox buddy guiding him there, but he shows up at this castle. Josh, what happens at this castle?
The Joel Edgerton castle? So there's 3 characters in there.
Yep.
An old woman, a younger lady.
Blindfolded old woman.
She's blindfolded every time you see her.
Yeah.
Never explained.
I'm okay with that. That's
Getting
not
at the bottom of that, maybe, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that later.
This was one of the parts because I feel like we're starting to get into the section of the movie where I didn't feel like I was in good hands anymore. And now there's this old woman. She walks in, kind of like looks at him, says something cryptic. I just didn't buy it. It was not interesting to me to see on film. And I remember thinking in the theaters, like, that's where I was lost. Like,
I 100%. I'm so glad you said that, Josh. You're not in good hands anymore. Because in better hands, you would have felt like something's. I mean, you could definitely tell something was amiss, but you didn't know if there was actually going to be a payoff of any of this, that it was actually like grand, or it could have been like, wow, this was happening the entire time. It just felt like fodder to me.
And the woman, the younger woman, the one who gives him the hand job, like she's so clearly telegraphed as like a bad guy, right? And maybe that's thematic.
The fisheye lens.
Well,
They did one fisheye lens real quick, and then it went away.
she straight up gives this like side eye at one point.
You know
right?
what I'm talking about?
I didn't notice it, but that's interesting.
They just did one fisheye lens, and that was it.
We both laughed at the side eye of the camera. At one point, she goes like
Yep.
to the camera, like right. And it's like, okay, well, she's clearly a bad guy.
Clearly the
at
bad.
that point, which
Yeah.
which I guess is fine, like thematically. But like, she gives him a book. What's the point of the book that she gives him? What does that mean? Like what?
Maybe it could be that this is so cryptic, and it could be books are knowledge. Maybe she's trying to give our Gawain knowledge that he refuses again. So maybe it's the idea that refusing knowledge can eventually lead to your downfall.
It didn't make me laugh.
That's me, like really real deep dive into that.
It did make me laugh though, because like everyone on Earth is like, oh, I like to read, and like Garland's like, oh, I like to read, and like, dude, you don't like to fucking read. You like to get drunk and like,
Bro, you haven't read a book in like 7 years.
fucking around this place. Brett, what do you anything you find interesting over there?
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
This is just super weird. Like, they were originally this really powerful sorceress, her name's Morgan Le Fay, and that's like his sister or something. I don't know. Joel Edgerton in the poem gets turned into the Green Knight, and it's supposed to be like expose the true nature of King Arthur's honorable men. Which makes sense with you're not a real, but like if you're only doing 30% of, it's just super. It sounded like this guy was really
no, because Joel
pulling weird
Edgerton's
stuff.
face was designed to somewhat look like the Green Knight.
Yes.
I thought he was
Beard and all. Yes.
name's Lord Berdelac de Hout Desert.
So it's almost like he kisses him at the end. Is that him saying like, you're a sweet boy, but you still like messed up? He's no knight, truly. Like he succumbed to the sexual like temptation. That's it. That's the movie, isn't it? Is that it?
Was Garland into the kiss at all?
I thought he was.
He seemed a little.
He seemed a little into it.
like he wasn't like pulling away.
Yeah.
Says he proposes a game. He will present Gawain with the greatest prize he obtains during that day's hunt, while Gawain will trade it with the greatest prize that he wins at the castle. And then it says kissing him before getting his hunting spoils is like reminding him that you got my wife's gift. It's time for you to give me. So
Yeah.
So it was like sexual temptation from Joel Edgerton, which
Or just kind of like, hey, you took this, you made a deal with me that if you
I'm taking
whatever
this,
you
yeah.
take from my thing, you're gonna give back. So
Okay. I mean, there could have been a payoff there. There could have been a payoff.
could have been a payload. You know?
Oh, and that mirrors actually Dev Patel wimping out on the same like tit for tat thing that the movie is based on in the beginning.
true.
Like
That's
whatever
also different.
blow you give my wife is the blow I'll give to you later.
I can't wait for that movie where the guy fucks the sheep. To be honest, it's gonna be such a good movie. I don't know anything before the end. This is spoilers. We got to get to the end. The narrative around the movie is it's a slow burn, but it's one of the best final scenes of any movie you've seen in a long time. Stevie, you scoff at that audibly.
It's a cop out. It's
How so?
okay. So, yeah, judge me if you will, people listening and/or watching.
Keep it real.
But my wife dragged me to every single one of those Twilight movies in the theaters. I didn't miss one opening weekend. Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. There's this giant battle. I mean, 4 movies or 5 movies now coming together for this great battle. Characters you love are dying. You know, lava pits of hell opening, snow, blood everywhere. It's crazy. Well, after 20 minutes of that, they pull back real fast, and it was just a vision of what things that would happen if they did do it. And the groans in the theaters were so loud, I kid you not. This is such a cop-out of, like, do a stance. Do one. Either, you know, he's brave enough now, take his head. But the whole, this what will happen, and pullback of I am now ready is such cop-out horseshit filmmaking. I cannot get over it.
Okay, 2 things. First of all, I like the Twilight books more than I should. The problem with that book, it was always going to be a problem. I don't care.
No,
I said way more embarrassing stuff than that. It was always going to be a problem because the big climax of the last book is literally about 30 pages of dialogue. And I think it's awesome. And I was always like, how are they going to do a movie? And that's literally the only way they
20 minutes of vision.
They were never going to ever have, because it's literally like a battle of
It's Battle of Wits.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, they're powerful, but do they know that? Yeah. So, secondly, I don't remember. The ending of the poem is way better than the book, in my opinion. Like, he never takes his sash off, and the Green Knight gives him a little nick on the neck, so he's embarrassed the rest of his life when he goes back.
That's fantastic.
That's way better, in my opinion.
That
So,
is.
like, he has to
It's a
live with
stance.
his shame the whole...
That's a shame mark because he took a whole head and he's letting him know you're going back with your tails, tucked between your legs. That's great.
But did they want him to be the victor or something, or...
There's a short, I think I've mentioned it on spoilers before, a short story called An Occurrence at Owl Creek. And it's just the same thing.
The hanging.
A guy's about to get hung, and then he escapes and everything. And it's all a dream, and he's still at the end of the rope. And a lot of movies do this.
It's a cop out, man.
I think what happens, though, with Brett telling me this is what happens in the real myth, is I think that the Green Knight probably goes ahead and gives him the nick. But it's like the point of the movie is like what he had to show him to get him to the point of like full trust.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate... When it all is over at the end, I didn't hate it as much, but I'm with Stevie. I mean...
Pick one.
Yeah. But I do like the thing. It's like he does win at the end. He takes the sash off. He's a real man. I mean, whether he gets his head cut off or not, I have no idea. I don't know if you're supposed to think he does or not.
What really bothers me is like the way that the title cards are unevenly applied because like there's a title card within the flashback sequence, right? He chooses to run away. There's another
Journey home.
There's a Journey Home title card that comes up, but it's
But
like
it's still the beheading part.
but it's all within one dream sequence, which is just I don't know. I don't like that. It feels cheap to me.
That's cheating a little
Yeah,
bit.
I don't know.
I mean, that too, and you can go back to ancient stories, medieval stories. There could also have been a battle of wits within Gawain that he could have learned. I mean, do something clever.
Right.
I think the idea of here's things, ghosts of Christmas future, and now we're back here again. I think that's just cheating because you're getting the best of both.
Like I thought it was literally going to be like the whole battle happened like after he becomes king because there's so much that happens. Like that's like 10
Like the Green Knight would have come back.
10 15 minutes of like
Yeah.
him becoming king, his son, him taking his like bastard son from his lover type
Yeah,
thing.
him
Like,
casting his lover aside. That was awesome.
That's kind of brutal.
Yeah.
that's a long sequence.
Of all that stuff that happens, what do you think is like the thing that makes him want to do
His
it?
son's death, probably, I would guess.
That easier. I mean, he literally loses his head at the end, right?
I mean, he literally loses his head, but why the giant dramatic character change of going back there, birthing, a son, casting away your lover, becoming a somewhat much of a tyrant, I imagine.
Oh, the peasants throw some
Yeah,
shit.
the peasants throw shit at him. Rubbish! Rubbish!
That was pretty haunting. Like, it was good filmmaking when it showed his ex, for lack of a better term, like standing there, like looking at him after he got the poop thrown. That was good.
Yeah, I mean, people like this last. I thought it was like well filmed. This last part. I mean, like it was a montage up there with Ghostbusters. Some would say, right, Brett?
Not quite, but maybe up there.
I mean, yeah, I thought the ending was cheap. I really do. Like, if you want to build a character like Gawain, make him start out a sissy along the way, or, somewhat not of true knight and honor, and build to the point where he's comfortable with taking the sash off. Make him get there. And if I get that ending of him going through such brutal quests where he's ready to face what, he's done or his hubris, I'm cool with that. But, 20 minutes of flashback and then just to get back to where we were, that's hard.
Do you think it would have been cool if at the end, when they're obviously breaking in, it's right at the very end of the what could have been, if when the doors open, it's the Green Knight?
Yeah.
I was expecting that to be, because that's like, he
for
spent
his
20
payment.
years. Yeah.
He's coming for his payment.
It certainly was the Green Knight, wasn't it? I mean, they didn't
Was it?
show it, but did they have to show
that,
it?
or even if they
I thought it was just his people. He became a
That's what
tyrant.
I-
His people
That's
rose
what I
up
thought it was too.
to beat him. That's what
actually.
I thought that was.
It was that battle.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I was watching. It was that battle, like the war that they would lose because he's an unworthy king, right? He wasn't supposed to be king.
I'm
It
starting
could've
to
been that,
like
though.
this movie now, actually. I did not catch up. I
don't know if
There's
that's
a lot to miss. I was waiting for
there's
you
that
guys to
makes-
tell me.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
And I think it's like set up right by that spinning in the forest, right? Where it's like, these are things that might happen. Here's an example of how we're showing you he might do this, but then he goes Daniel Day-Lewis and there will be blood and goes no and like crawls his way over to the sword type thing. Like I thought that was like
the
a
third revelation.
I thought that was like a tease of things to come.
But that doesn't tell me that, this whole Joel Edgerton house could happen.
Why?
I didn't.
What did happen there?
That's when we're not
Was
in good
his mom
hands.
projecting that whole thing to him? Why? How
The
did
mom's
she
the
get
fox,
sash?
too, right?
The mom is the fox.
Gotta be, right?
Yeah, the mom's the fox.
And the walrus.
It
And
wasn't much of a fox.
the wall. Yeah, no.
Goo, goo,
But I mean, another way to do this too that I would have been okay with is if he gave him the nick, and that wound got bigger and bigger and bigger through time
Oh,
until his
that's
head
cool.
fell off. I would have been, and that wound getting bigger is what drove him to madness.
Dude, that would be
I
a
am-
great
oh.
A24 scene if he's like still alive at the end and he's like, yeah, but check this out. And he's like,
Nearly had the snake. He just takes it off.
I'm okay
Yeah.
with that. I'm okay with something like that. Like the journey home, he gets through it. You think everything's easy peasy, and just that wound gets bigger and bigger and bigger through time. And like, at the end when the doors fly open, there's the Green Knight, and he's come to collect, and that's when the wound snaps. I am more than okay with that.
He was a coward throughout the whole movie, and I guess it's just weird that he would become not a coward at the very end. I mean, he literally was crying when. I mean, again, I
Yeah.
don't blame him for crying when people have knives at your throat, but he never gets tougher.
Yeah.
At the very end, he's like, I thought it was a good line. He's like, did you not have a whole year? He said, whether a year or 100, I'm always.
You had a
gonna
whole
be-
year to gain your
Yeah.
courage. Yeah.
the Donnie Darko in this is just striking me right now. It's kind of the same ending where they have to choose basically to sit still so that something can hit them and kill them, right? And Donnie Darko laughs it off. Dev Patel's kind of a bitch.
You're right. Though. I mean,
Just joking about Dev.
Here's what I thought like
Johnny
was,
Darko for sure.
here's what I thought was an interesting
director's cut.
Mathemes moment, right?
No director's cut. Don't sneak in director's cut.
Fuck that. But Mathemes, like, there's kind of like this like imposter syndrome theme, or like leaning into people believing that you are something that you're not. Like at the beginning of the film, all he had to do to defeat the Green Knight was the Green Knight took a fucking knee. You know what I mean? He didn't defeat the Green Knight in combat. He just lopped off his head, and he takes all of the credit for it. Later on in the battle sequence, or like when he's like coming across this battle, he's fine with people thinking that he's a knight when he's not. He leans into that. And at the very end of the movie, he's not a rightful king. He didn't earn the glory or the honor, I guess would be the right word here, that was like bestowed on him. So I did kind of enjoy that like thought, right? That he's like,
And it's almost like all those other bad things that happened to him were dulled by the sense of like he already knew he fucked it up in the first place.
right, yeah.
You know what I mean? He had like no motion in his life.
But I guess maybe the point of the story is that like that ultimately doesn't lead him to happiness, right? Pretending that he accomplished something that he didn't, taking credit for things he doesn't do, doesn't make him happy. But here's my question for you. This is our fucking raw take, right? The four of us literally got in our car, drove right to Spoiler Studios headquarters here.
Let's go.
Barely discussed it at all before. Didn't like do like maybe a cursory Google search. Is this movie something that you want to try and unlock? Is this something that like has sparked your interest to dig deeper in? Brett, I want to ask you first, or are you just like whatever? I saw it once, I'm done.
I have this article pulled up I've been pulling a little bit of it. I would be okay with reading that, and that's probably it. I might be willing to read the poem. It's from the 14th century, so it's close with 800 years. So
That's so much of a pain in the ass to read something like that. You have
True.
to read it, and then you have to read like the
It's like reading the original Dante, then being like, all right, how dumb am I?
that's one of the reasons why I haven't read any Shakespeare, because it's like a different freaking language.
Thank you.
Josh,
Actually, just watch Deadwood. You'll be just as confused.
Josh, is this something you want to dig into at some
I
point?
think, I think he's all in.
You mentioned the good hands thing. If we think that we're in good hands, then we would, in good faith, think, okay, there's something here. Do you think that there is something here worth digging into? It's been lauded by critics. People fucking love this movie. It's got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm honestly starting to think maybe I wasn't well read enough, smart enough the first time going through it.
But is that what fucking A24 does? You have to read the fucking old English poem and
Okay, so
And 3 graphic novels.
3 graphic novels.
2 pieces of knowledge have flipped me a little bit here. One is that as soon as he goes into the forest, he's living in the reality he chose in a way. That's kind of cool. The second one is that in the original story, the Green Knight does give him the nick. So that's like a twist to me. You're almost supposed to find out after you watch this movie, it actually isn't off with his head. He's going to give him kind of another fake out and nick him. And now he can go back with honor and change everything. So it's almost like a happy ending that you read on Wikipedia later.
right.
That's kind of cool. I don't know.
I don't think I mentioned it, by the way. He never takes the sash off in the original story. That's why he gets the nick, because the Green Knight can't do anything else to him, really. So
he's just
Shame.
using
That's his
witchcraft.
shame.
That's a shame.
So he couldn't even really be hurt. That's why I'm sorry. The Green Knight doesn't just do that to make him shame, but he refuses to take the sash off. And so
Even during sex, coitus.
Sash
belt-
stays on.
Sash stays on, boys.
to be fair to him, he said no.
Stevie, is this something you want to dig into more?
Okay.
Not to tip your hand on what
I
the upcoming
understand
segments.
Josh's point about finding stuff out later on, but as a single medium, I shouldn't have to go and read something else to understand
Just had this
what a
the other day.
medium is portraying. It drives me insane that, you know,
And you said there was like A24 official content put out there.
that's
like,
when I
what to
knew
know.
things might go south.
That's a bad fucking
That's
sign.
because I watch a lot. I mean, I don't have cable, so I'll typically watch like podcasts or like show clips on YouTube. And I imagine because I watched this trailer a bunch, I started getting videos. And A24 was like, all you need to know to understand the Green Knight. And I went through Garwin's
That's not great.
Garwin's lineage, like time of place, like what the Green Knight is. Like I went through a bunch of stuff, like where in England it would be.
But I will say, being expected to know some of literature's most famous stories, probably historically, I didn't know them, so I'm just admitting fault. That's different than expecting to know Richard Kelly's own
true.
graphic novels he wrote around his own
Right, but
world.
everybody
True.
knows
Very
King
true.
Arthur. Everybody knows Excalibur. Like when he pulled out Excalibur, I was like, whoa! Like everybody knows there's some weight to that moment. You know, it's just
Literally, the king is like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I mean, I hate to say this, like you know, hindsight's 2020. But what's Lane's name for Mission Impossible? Sean Harris, or
Good enough.
yeah, the actor. I hate to say that.
king? The king?
It could have been a 2.5-hour
Sean
discussion, Sean Harris. It could have been a 2.5-hour discussion between him and Garwin about how his failures of an uncle and how he wants him to be better. And I would have been A-okay with that because he's such a good actor.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
I
good
wish he was in the movie way more.
Yeah.
I loved his, him talking to Gawain, being like, you've grown up here, but I don't really know you. You've grown up in my kingdom. I know my kingdom, but I don't know you, and that's my fault. I love that stuff.
Any other final thoughts?
Yeah, that dialogue where she's talking about why green, not a strong point of the movie. She's like, why not blue? Red is the color of the lifeblood.
My eyes glazed over during that part.
That was a tough
I
one.
closed my eyes a few times towards the end, like kind of this, like, could I sleep if I wanted to? And the answer was yes. Two quick throwaway scenes that I really liked, but we haven't talked about because they didn't really. I really liked the. I don't know why it resonated with me so much, but when he's getting ready to go away and his girlfriend was like putting herself out, like she'd been kind of sarcastic and didn't take anything serious the whole time, but she literally is like, "What would you think if we were married? Would that be okay?"
Dialogue.
With you? And he literally doesn't. I mean, he kind of. I'm surprised that she didn't get mad at him because he's kind of just like, no, saying no without saying no, and I really like that. I thought it was good acting. Plus, your voice was really good.
I just want to say that is a strong moment, and I didn't notice it in the movie, but Pappy pointed out like there really is a point in the movie where it's like, all right, we're done with the dialogue and we're moving into this.
Yeah.
Visual storytelling.
But the
now.
dialogue was really well done.
That end.
Yeah, we're talking about the king had great dialogue, the girl had good dialogue, and then it's just like a journey. I don't know.
We need words on the screen.
Second thing that I thought was cool, I'm just guessing on what it is, but when the Green Knight came into the chamber and the king looked at his magician, and magician's like basically like, dude, this guy's not to be messed with. I thought that was like super
Magician was like,
powerful.
"This ain't me, guy."
I was hoping that was Merlin,
Dude, that
but
was
it just says magician. So
100% Merlin.
Yeah.
The king's like, and Merlin's like, no.
Bro, this
No,
ain't
sir.
me. I've played a lot of pranks on you in my day. This ain't me.
because they didn't really explain who that was, but I think you're supposed to guess with the tattoos.
Fucking love that part.
Yeah.
And I think it's in part because we could all pull a little bit of a different meaning from that. I was thinking his king was like, fuck this guy up. And he's like, I can't.
Kind of. I think it could have meant a lot.
You have no power here. Let's go around our round table of sorts. Yes or no's. Josh, we'll start with you. Go this way around the table. Go give it to us.
I have no idea what I'm gonna say.
This is a tough one. I will admit, coming out of the movie theater, I felt a little flat. But I'll give the movie credit. I think it knows what it's doing at the end. It's a blast to talk about tonight with you guys. First live recording. This is amazing. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a super soft yes. I like lore and stuff like that just too much. There's enough strong points in this movie. We were hyped up a lot though, and
Yeah.
I was let down.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to like come back to base and be like, I actually think this is a pretty decent movie, and I'm gonna give it a soft yes.
Stevie?
This is like one of the hardest ones I've ever done.
Yeah.
Was that a Dev Patel's horse over there?
Yeah, he's so excited to see after cowering away.
You didn't have to walk back.
I love the initial first 40 minutes. I mean, I thought the first 40 was a banger. And like Josh said, you felt like you were in good hands.
Allstate.
Yeah, you felt like you were in really, really good hands. And just the drop off of what we got. I appreciate visual storytelling. I can't get past the storytelling of seeing future. Like as an audience, I understand. As an audience, I'd almost rather have him saying, "Wait, open his eyes." Like we think he's seeing something, and then say, "Okay, go." Like that to me is stronger.
What do you mean by that?
So he's been cowering away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it would have been up for interpretation. But if he would have stopped and said, "Wait," and he would have been running his eyes back and forth, like he's seeing something, but we don't know what that is. And then him taking off the scarf and dropping it, I'm okay with that. That to me is a lot better than the Twilight 2 endings we got of this is things to be, this is things that is. That I can't get past that. Visually, it's great. I love seeing a red flare go off in water.
Mm-hmm.
I think that looked incredible. Red, to me, looks the best on screen anyway. But yeah, I don't like the way the story was structured at all. The movie was structured at all. So I'm gonna give this just a flat no.
Flat no.
Yeah.
I didn't answer my own question earlier. Do I feel like this is worthy of further investigation? And based on that, who directed this? Sorry,
David Lowery. David Lowery.
He's salty.
I liked A Ghost Story quite a bit. I know we've been talking a lot about, is this Allstate good hands or is this not Allstate good hands? I trust his first movie. I'm going to watch this movie one more time. And because of that, I'm going to give it a super duper duper, the softest yes I've ever given, which it keeps getting lower and lower and lower. What's the softest yes I've
Would
ever
you
given?
revise it after the second time?
Yes.
Okay.
It will hinge on the second viewing. And I'm gonna Google the fuck out of this movie. I'm gonna Google all the theories. I'm gonna Google what everyone's saying. I'm gonna
So you're pulling a Green Knight right now.
I'm gonna watch the 60-minute YouTube video essay. Why the Green Knight is actually great type thing. Like I'm gonna give it a fucking chance because I really think that there is something here. TBD, but there's enough visually. There's enough in the first 40 minutes. There's enough cleverness in the dialogue where I would never fucking be like, hey buddy, let's watch The Green Knight. You know what I mean? I would never bring a date over and be like, hey, I got this great Christmas movie, The Green Knight. Let's all gather around.
Steel box, Green Knight.
I will be alone. I will not be sober, and I will watch The Green Knight one more time after I do all the research, and then I'll give my final decision. But there's enough there to keep me like, I'm interested. Very soft, yes, but I'm not smart enough to get it. And then I don't think I'm a dumb guy. I watch a lot of movies. We watch a lot of movies. We talk about a movie every week.
Maybe so maybe I kind of get that clear. I watch a movie every day.
Yeah.
That's really weird on my part. I understand that, but film-wise, I understand it. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
The shots they pull off are stunning. The blocking, the lighting, lens flares looked great on this. Sorry, J.J. Abrams, they suck on yours.
Yeah, he used them stylistically.
Stylistically,
it was nice.
Use them. I loved that. I also love the dialogue. I like somewhat of the character building. It's just the structure of the story I cannot get over. I want to get that across.
The only below the line thing that I have to complain about at all is the look of the fucking CGI fox, but I love the character of the CGI fox. I love his little howl. I love his the way he hops around. I love the way he trips on those shrooms. So that's, it's not an incompetent movie. And on top of that, I'm interested enough in the story to dig a little bit deeper. I don't know. Again, not a hard yes, not a movie I would ever suggest someone to watch, but it's enough for a soft yes for now, but maybe revise later. Brett.
Well, are we going to cut to you in 9 months and you got everything mapped out on a wall?
Charlie Kelly.
Like the scavenger, you know what all the...
There is no Pepe Sylvia.
Every stone in his necklace, you know what it means and what section of the kingdom it came from.
Happy. Not only do all these people work here, but they've been asking for them on a daily basis.
For months.
And to be fair, like I said, this is our raw take, and I don't know if that a good film makes if you have to dig into all this extra stuff, but this feels like a mystery that does feel worth unlocking to some extent at this point. And based on that alone, and all of the below the line stuff and the visuals, very, very soft yes. But Brett, round us out here.
Yeah, you got something else? Oh, that's fine. I had already made up my mind as Josh was talking. I think he said enough there that convinced me. I'm also going to make it a soft yes.
Wow.
Because spoiler alert. I came out and I texted my wife. I said bad movie. That's what I texted my wife.
Yeah. 3 words.
But talking to you guys, I'm with Stevie. There's so many what ifs, what it could have been, or if it would have been the same movie, the first act the second and third act as it was the first act, it could have been really awesome.
Oh my God.
The dialogue, Stevie and I are on the same page with the King. We loved everything he said. I loved Alicia Vikander. I liked the real one. The witch one, I guess, was hot. She did all right.
Throw a line in there. Why do you remind me of a woman?
Why? He didn't even seem to recognize her, right?
Throw a line in there. Yeah.
But anyway, I like Joel Edgerton and everything, so he's whatever he's talking about.
He's better blue. Sexier.
Is this part of the brighter verse? But yeah, no, I don't. It's good enough. It was good enough. And no, talking to you guys.
Hyped though.
No, but here's the thing though. Here's what it's that I have that you guys didn't. I watched the trailer for the first time 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
I had never even heard this movie until you guys were like, Green Knight. I was like, what is that? And I finally looked it up. And I thought the Green Knight was Sir Gawain, so I was wrong on that part. So it's kind of like how I like season 8 of Game of Thrones a little more than you guys.
Yeah.
Because I didn't wait 2.5 years for season 8. I had watched from season 1 to season 8.
I envy you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Don't
And
bring that up. Drew
wasn't
Rockland still mad at us for Game of Thrones.
Best friend Drew. Yeah.
I gave it a no.
But I will give that. I will give
Oh.
this a. I'm not going to give the world's softest yes like Pat, but I'll give it a soft yes. I thought there was enough there. First act was strong. Visuals were really cool.
Good enough.
There's about a word a minute in the last 80 of the movie, which is really weird.
It's hard.
Yeah, but
I have one question. I don't mean to interrupt you.
I'm done.
For the casual viewers that listen to, say casual film viewer, they haven't seen as many films as we have or know as much. Would the casual film viewer like this movie? Or do you have to like film a lot to like this movie?
I couldn't recommend this movie to anybody.
I couldn't.
Can you imagine any of our moms showing them The Green Knight? They
I
would
couldn't
fucking hate this movie.
recommend
parents
this to my
hate-
father-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gave it 3 yeses, but the feeling as we walked out of the theater was cool.
Yeah, it was bad.
Cool.
We were trying so
Quite
hard not
cool.
to say anything. Pappy kept starting and then going, nah. Nah. Because he's trying not to say anything. By the way, I'm probably going to have to watch this again because this is going to be nominated for something, right?
Below the line stuff, I'm sure.
So my wife and I watch all the stuff, and we're going to watch it again.
Yeah.
The movie literally ends with what we're talking about, like the close-up of Green Knight Groot's face, this close, being now off with your head.
Off with your head.
It almost rubs in.
Let's get to hacking.
It rubs in that ambiguity in a kind of bad way.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why it was cool, because the ending is a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth. I think.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this format didn't leave a bad taste in your mouth, listener. This is a new thing. We want your feedback on this. We're recording live. We're going to sort of upload it right away, put it on YouTube. What are you saying, Josh? Go ahead. Just say it.
Yeah, we got some new gear here, thanks to the Patreon.
Thanks to you.
And,
You
Let's
made this
go.
possible. We literally could not do this today without your support. So
and we
thank
want
you.
to do this whole episode without editing. And we usually toss to Spoiler Man for some things, but I will say right off the bat, you can follow our Instagram at Podcast Spoilers, and it's lit.
It is lit. So thank you for listening. That was Spoilers. Take it away, Spoiler Man.
Special thank you to our patrons: Matt Troll, Brother Brian, Druid King, Nick, The Meg, David, Nurse Stacy,